Welcome back to I'm Pretty Sure. Today's episode, we're going to be counting down the top 10 scariest serial killers from around the world. These notorious people have left a terrifying mark on history, and their stories are not for the faint of heart. Viewer discretion is advised. Our countdown begins in Russia with Andrei Chikatilo, otherwise known as the Butcher of Rostov. Born in 1936, Chikatilo's childhood was marred by poverty and abuse. Between the years of 1978 and 1990, he brutally murdered over 50 women and children, often mutilating their bodies. Chikatilo's case is particularly disturbing because of his methods and his ability to evade capture for years. He targeted vulnerable individuals, luring them to isolated areas where he would then attack. Chikatilo's trial in 1992 revealed the horrifying details of his crimes, ultimately leading to his execution in 1994. Next up, we have Pedro Alonso Lopez, or infamously known as the Monster of the Andes. This guy is known as one of the deadliest serial killers on record. Born in Colombia in 1948, Lopez's criminal career began with petty theft and escalated to horrifying levels. In the 1970s, he actually confessed to the murder of over 300 girls across Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, but the exact number of victims remains uncertain. Lopez was arrested in 1980, and despite this confession that he made, the justice system struggled with how to handle him. He was released from an Ecuadorian psychiatric hospital in 1998, and I think the craziest thing is his current whereabouts are unknown.
It sort of leaves a chilling question mark over his fate.
Next, we have Dr. Harold Shipman, otherwise known as Dr. Death. He exploited his position as a trusted physician to commit an estimated 250 murders, mostly of elderly patients, between 1975 and 1998. Shipman's method involved administering lethal doses of diamorphine, often altering medical records to cover his tracks. His capture in 1998 sent shockwaves through the medical community and led to significant changes in patient safety regulations. Shipman was sentenced to life imprisonment in 2000, where he later committed suicide. His case remains a haunting reminder of how these people in positions of trust can exploit their authority so easily. Now we've got Albert Fish, an American serial killer active in the early 20th century, committed some of the most gruesome acts ever recorded. Known as the Gray Man or the Brooklyn Vampire, Fish involved in child molestation, murder, and cannibalism. He claimed to have children in every state, though he was only formally charged with the murder of Grace Budd, a case that horrified the nation. Fish's letter to the victims' families, in which he described his crimes in graphic detail, are among the most disturbing documents in criminal history. He was ultimately executed in 1936, but Fish's legacy continues to haunt American folklore. Our next serial killer is Javed Iqbal from Pakistan. Javed Iqbal, a Pakistani serial killer, confessed to the murder of 100 boys in Lahore in the late 1990s. His crimes shocked the nation, not only because of their scale, but also due to his detailed confessions and the disturbing manner in which he disposed the victims' bodies. He often dissolved them in acid. Iqbal's motivations were reportedly driven by a desire for revenge against the police and society in general, as he claimed to have been mistreated during previous incarcerations. Iqbal was sentenced to death in 2000, but died under suspicious circumstances in his cell, sparking controversy and obviously conspiracy theories because he was saying that he was mistreated while incarcerated previously. The next on the list is Luis Garavito, known as La Bestia, which translates to the Beast. He's one of the world's most prolific serial killers. Arrested in 1999, Garavito confessed to the rape and murder of 147 boys across Colombia, although authorities believe the actual number could be much, much higher. Garavito targeted children from poor backgrounds, often posing as a charity worker or a teacher to lure them away. His brutal methods and the sheer number of victims make him one of the most notorious figures in criminal history. Despite his heinous crimes, Colombian law caps sentence, meaning Garavito could potentially be released in the future, a prospect that has sparked international outrage. I think this next one is probably the most world-renowned just by his name. Jack the Ripper. He's probably the most infamous serial killer in history, not only because of the brutal murders, but also due to his enduring mystery of his identity. Operating in the Whitechapel district of London in 1888, the Ripper is credited with at least 5 murders, all involving the mutilation of female prostitutes. The case captured the public's imagination, spawning countless theories and books. Despite numerous investigations, the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains unknown, making it one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in criminology. The case continues to fascinate and horrify, a symbol of the darker aspects of Victorian London. Now we have Tsutomu Miyazaki, also known as the Otaku Murderer, was a Japanese serial killer who committed 4 murders in the late 1980s. His crimes involved the abduction and murder of young girls, and Miyazaki often engaged in disturbing post-mortem mutilation and acts of necrophilia. Miyazaki's background as an isolated and socially awkward individual who found solace in violent pornography led to widespread media discussion about the impact of media and social isolation on criminal behavior. His trial and subsequent execution in 2008 highlighted the complexities of addressing mental health issues within the legal system. Next up, we have Eileen Wuornos. Honestly, one of the few female serial killers to gain notoriety, was dubbed the Damsel of Death. Her troubled life, marked by abuse and hardship, culminated in a series of 7 murders between 1989 and 1990 in Florida. Wuornos claimed that she acted in self-defense against men who had solicited her for prostitution, though this defense was contested in court. Her case garnered significant media attention and led to numerous portrayals in books and films, including the Oscar-winning movie Monster. Wuornos was executed in 2002, and her story continues to be a subject of debate and analysis. Topping my list is Ed Gein, a name that has become synonymous with horror. Known as the Butcher of Plainfield, Gein's crimes were discovered in 1957, revealing a house of horrors in rural Wisconsin. Gein had exhumed bodies from local graveyards and used their skin and bones to create trophies and keepsakes for his house. His gruesome activities included the murder of 2 women, though it was his ghastly home decor that truly shocked the public. Gein's case inspired numerous horror films, including Psycho, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and The Silence of the Lambs, ultimately cementing his legacy in popular culture. He was found legally insane and spent the rest of his life in a mental institution before he died in 1984. And there you have it. That's my list of the top 10 scariest serial killers from around the world. This is obviously just a small glimpse into each one. These stories remind us of the darkest aspects of humanity and the importance of vigilance and justice. If you found this video intriguing, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. Or don't. It's up to you. Until next week, stay safe and take care.